Setting up a DIFC Foundation in Dubai offers powerful protection for assets, but there are some common mistakes that can create big problems later, like banking delays, tax issues, or even losing control of a foundation. In this video, I'll show you the 5 most frequent mistakes people make when setting up a DIFC Foundation. So you can learn what can go wrong, why these mistakes matter, and how you can avoid them right from the start. Before we start, my name is Shiraz Baid and I'm the founder at Lepidus Wealth, where we help clients and families protect their assets using a range of tools including trust, foundations, wills, and offshore structures. So if you own a business or real estate, don't wait until a legal or health crisis to start thinking about protecting what you have built. Instead, request your free and customized asset protection plan by clicking the link below. You can then implement it step by step as your journey progresses. The first mistake is underestimating the importance of foundation purpose. Unlike a simple holding company, a DIFC foundation must have clear, lawful, and specific purpose stated in its charter. Many clients make the error of using vague, generic purpose or copy pasting from templates. This approach can cause problems when it comes to banking, KYC requirements, and even tax residency questions. Banks and auditors want to see that your foundation is not just a shelf entity, it needs a defined role such as succession planning, holding a family business, or charitable giving. A well articulated purpose signals compliance and professionalism, which goes a long way in due diligence checks. If you set out only with a generic description or something that sounds too broad, you may find yourself yielding endless questions from your bank or even facing a rejection. I've seen a client who later needs to amend their documents, sometimes at great expense, because their original purpose was too generic or unclear for their needs. It's always worth investing time upfront to define your foundation's role in a way that speaks to regulators, bankers, and eventually your beneficiaries. Another common mistake is choosing the wrong council structure. The council is the core decision making body of your foundation. Too often, founders simply appoint themselves and one friend or a family member without considering the council's long term function or succession. If the council is not just structured with independent members, or if it lacks continuity, you risk operational issues if something happens to key individuals. In some cases, a bank may even refuse to open an account if the council appears too closely related or lack independence. The most effective foundations appoint a mix of trusted family, experienced professionals, and in some cases, independent corporate council members. This balance is not only practical, it also sends a clear message to banks and authorities that the foundation is set up for genuine long term stewardship, not just control. Keep in mind that having at least one independent council member, especially someone with a recognized professional background, can open doors with banks and help when dealing with auditors or international service providers. Council composition should be reviewed every few years, especially if your family or business circumstances evolve. Now let's talk about registered address and substance. Dubai has tightened regulations to ensure foundations have genuine presence, not just a mailbox. A common mistake is to rely on bare minimum service provider package, thinking that it is sufficient for compliance. If your foundation is ever reviewed for tax residency or economic substance, this approach may fall short. Authorities and even some banks increasingly want to see evidence of real operations, minutes of the meeting, local advisors, and perhaps even a leased office or a part time staff. By planning substance requirements from the beginning, you're not only avoiding compliance issues, you're also boosting your foundation's credibility in the eyes of the banks, auditors, and global partners. Clients often ask that whether it's worth investing in more than just the minimum required presence. In most cases, a modest setup such as holding real meetings in Dubai, retaining local advisors, or documenting annual reviews pays off in smoother banking, easier cross border transaction, and better treatment in tax residency questions. If your foundation is ever challenged, those small details can make a major difference. Next, there is a question of founder control. Many founders instinctively want to retain as much power as possible, appointing themselves as sole council members, enforcers, and protectors. But this is risky. If you keep too much personal control, the foundation can be challenged as sham or see through structure. especially in international litigation or tax investigations. It is critical to balance your desires for oversight with real checks and balances, perhaps by using an independent enforcer, separating family from professional council members, and having robust policies for replacement and succession. This approach protects both the structure and your reputation. In practice, I've seen structures that get into problems because the founder insisted on keeping too much tight of a grip, which undermines the legitimacy of the entire setup. Sometimes a single step, like bringing in a trusted third party advisor or documenting clear replacement procedures, can transform a foundation from vulnerable to robust. Consider not only how you want to manage your foundation today, but also how it will run when you're no longer in direct control. The fifth mistake is overlooking the banking requirements. Many people assume that once the foundation is registered, opening bank account in Dubai or abroad will be simple. In reality, banks conduct extensive due diligence, reviewing your foundation's charter, purpose, council members, beneficiaries, and source of funds. Any gaps or ambiguities can trigger delays, requests for more documentation, or even outright rejection. A foundation set up purely for privacy or with unclear beneficiaries will raise red flags. To avoid disappointment, always engage with your preferred bank early in the process. Share your draft document, get pre approval if possible, and be ready to explain the foundation's activities, source of wealth, and the relationship between the council and the beneficiaries. This proactive approach can save you from weeks to months of back and forth. It's not uncommon for banks in Dubai to request face to face meetings, updated due diligence, or even interviews with council members, especially for international families or when significant sums are involved. The more transparent and organized your setup is, the faster and smoother your banking process will be. It's also worth remembering that not all banks are the same. Some have dedicated teams for foundations, while others are still learning the details, so early engagement is critical. So, what do all these points have in common? The most successful DIFC foundations are those set up with real purpose, proper governance, genuine presence, balanced control, and clear banking strategy. Each element reinforces the others, creating a foundation that not only protects your assets but also passes the most rigorous compliance checks. A well planned foundation doesn't just secure your wealth, it makes your cross border business and family planning significantly easier. I often remind my clients that your foundation is more than a legal structure, it's an anchor for your long term legacy. As I mentioned earlier, if you own a business or real estate, don't wait for legal or health crisis to start thinking about protecting your wealth. Many people think asset protection is only for ultra wealthy. But the reality is that some of these solutions cost as much as setting up a free zone company in Dubai. If you want to secure what you have built and ensure your legacy, you can request your free and customized asset protection plan by clicking the link in the description below. And if you're serious about building long term financial security, you should really check out my next video right here.